Good morning. My name is Jessica Doyle, and I did my capstone project on the Russian missile launch test site Nuyotska, also called Nunoksa, or State Central Navy Testing Range, located in Russia. So this range, compared to a lot of other launch sites, is much less known. You hear about Pletsk or Bakhna Cosmodrome all the time. However, this particular launch site has garnered a lot of interest because on August 8th, an explosion took place off the coast. There was a reported spike in radioactive isotopes that were attributed to that explosion, and 5 scientists were killed, and others were reported to have been taken to hospitals at Nyonska for treatment due to exposure to radioactive materials. In fact, on open source, doctors were complaining in interviews that they were given no protective equipment and no forewarning of potential exposures. So I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about, what happened around the dates that were attributed to that launch. So figure 1 is an overview of the Nuyotska Missile Test Range. The facility was established in 1954. It's located 2 miles northeast of the city of Yunokska, which is why it's given that name. And it's located off the coast of the White Sea, and you can see a little bit of the White Sea here. So the site is primarily known for supporting naval missile testing. Since it opened, it's been reported to have supported the testing of sea-launched ICBMs, cruise missiles, and anti-aircraft missiles. Of note, this cleared space up until 2016 had buildings and supporting structures that were reported to help with sea-launched ballistic missile launches or testing. So in looking at the graphic, there are several features that are pretty characteristic of missile launch sites. Right here you have a guard tower, and along the sides, as I pointed out, there are perimeter fences. Additionally, you have some supporting buildings that are adequate for serving as supporting structures for personnel and storing missiles that are ongoing testing. Over in this corner, I did highlight this blue cargo container. There was a little bit of cloud coverage for this particular day, but I'll go into the significance of that a little bit later in my presentation. All right, so this is the image that was taken on August 8th, and that's the day of the explosion I referenced earlier in the presentation. On this date, you can see there are 2 unidentified ships. I wasn't able to identify what those ships were, but it's proposed that they were some sort of retrieval vessels. And then there is a barge located, and this is actually expected to be where the launch occurred, as the explosion was captured on video occurring in the White Sea. And additionally, it's thought that the scientists killed during the event were located on that barge at the time of explosion. So this is one feature that has been called into question quite frequently. The reason is so the Burstovik is the proposed missile that was being tested, and the Burstovik is a nuclear-powered super weapon that Russia is developing. It's a cruise missile, and it just seems unlikely to many that the scientists would have been in such close proximity to a weapon which is radioactive. However, the opposing side is using these blue containers. You can see them slightly here. I referenced it in the previous image as proof that some sort of nuclear or a weapon with nuclear capabilities was being tested or was located in relation to the explosion. So the significance of these blue containers are they are manufactured by a company called Ecomet S, which is a company that handles logistics and transport of solid nuclear waste. Okay, so the graphic here was taken a couple of days after the day of the explosion. The major feature that was identified for this image is the barge that washed up on shore, and as you can see, it has that blue container I referenced earlier. And a lot of people, of course, as I've said, are proposing that these blue containers are indicators of some sort of nuclear-based launch, which possibly could be the Burevestnik nuclear powered cruise missile. So beyond this, another indicator that some sort of nuclear weapons testing was going on for August 8th is that the global body associated with monitoring compliance on nuclear emissions reported 2 stations down 2 days after the explosion. These stations just happened to be the ones that were closest to the missile site. And so the fact that they were shut down lends people to believe that this area was exposed to in a higher level of radioactive activity due to this nuclear testing that happened. So Yonoska, which hasn't been an exciting launch site in the past, had quite the media attention over this. So continued monitoring in the area may be important because Russia may start to perform testing besides just the naval-based testing that this site is known for. And the hope is that as testing occurs here more frequently, or as monitoring occurs more frequently, and we're able to recognize the test, maybe we'll be able to take some of those characteristics from those forthcoming tests and apply them to the August 8th event to kind of narrow down what actually happened. Well, that concludes my project, my capstone project. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.